What is going on, guys? Miles here, and today we're going to be looking at all of the prestige emblems in Infinite Warfare multiplayer. All of these emblems have been slowly revealed on the Infinity Ward Twitter account, and starting with Prestige 1 we have a silver hexagon, and in the middle we have a silver glossy skull, which has a massive crack in the middle, and this one doesn't look too great in my opinion, but it is Prestige 1, so you can't expect it to be absolutely amazing, and they do get slightly better later on. Moving on to Prestige 2, it's slightly similar to Prestige 1 in there's a silver hexagon obviously, and there is the silver skull once again, but this time there's not a huge piece of the skull actually missing, but the skull is cracked and there doesn't seem to be a jaw to the skull, which is a bit weird. And this time we also have a little bronze pattern. It looks slightly better in my opinion, but once again I'd probably rate it a 5 out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10. So once you hit 3rd prestige, the skull is now completely intact. There's no cracks or any parts missing of it. And we obviously have the jaw now as well, which looks really cool. I actually quite like this emblem. I'll probably rate it a 7.5 out of 10. And they did change the background as well. It's now a silver shield rather than a hexagon. And the bronze pattern has changed slightly. And there's also a star behind the skull, which looks pretty cool as well. Prestige 4 is very similar to Prestige 3, and the only difference I actually saw is that rather than some of the bronze pattern on Prestige 3, they now have axes on either sides of Prestige 4, and this one, once again, looks pretty cool in my opinion, although there's not a lot of variety within these Prestige emblems, which I'm not a huge fan of. I do like it in Black Ops 1, where there was a massive amount of variety and a load of different colours used, but I'd probably rate this one a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. I am quite a huge fan of Prestige 5 though. This one looks pretty cool actually, although it does look very similar once again to all of the previous Prestige symbols, but we've moved back to the hexagon by the look of it. We also have a diamond shape going on, and we have the same skull as usual, no damage on it, and we also have some wings on the background which look pretty cool as well. And honestly, I actually like this Prestige emblem, and it's probably one of my favourite out of the current 5 which we've looked at. Prestige 6 looks very similar to Prestige 5, except for this time it has a red star in between the wings and the skull, and honestly I actually prefer Prestige 5. I don't think the red star actually fits very well in this emblem, and it does look a little bit strange in my opinion. Moving on to Prestige 7, I actually really like this emblem, although it does look very similar once again to the previous Prestiges, and there aren't a load of colours used, but I think the red in this one actually works a lot better than Prestige 6, and this time there's actually a sword going through the skull, which looks pretty cool as well. Probably my second favourite emblem which we've seen so far. Prestige 8 once again looks very similar to Prestige 7, except for this time there are actually 2 swords going through the skull rather than 1, and they're actually going through at an angle rather than from top to bottom. But this one, once again, it just looks a little too similar to Prestige 7 in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of it. Moving on to Prestige 9, we once again have the skull, which we've had in every Prestige emblem so far, but this time we have a completely different background. There seems to be some sort of shape going in the background, but I'm not sure what it is, and we have some flames going on the right and left hand side as well. But honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this Prestige emblem, because it just seems to be a little bit cartoonish, and a little bit repetitive along with all the other Prestige emblems. And finally, Prestige 10 is pretty much the same as Prestige 9, except for this time there are 2 guns on the bottom left and right hand side. Once again, I'll probably rate this a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 honestly. I'm a little bit disappointed for the Prestige 10 icon in this game. I was hoping it'd look super badass and stuff, but it just seems to be a little bit bland in my opinion. But we haven't actually seen Prestige Master yet, so hopefully that one would look pretty damn cool. But as of right now, we don't actually know if there's a Prestige Master icon or emblem in Infinite Warfare multiplayer. But there we have it. There are the 10 Prestige symbols which you can get in Infinite Warfare multiplayer. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments below. Honestly, I think they're not that great. They seem to be a little bit repetitive, and they don't seem to use many colours, which I'm not a huge fan of. But overall, if you guys enjoyed, if you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome, and I'll see you guys in my next video.